Hey artists, designers, filmmakers, and adventurers alike, welcome to Breakdown, where I'm going to try and teach you the wonderful art of visual effects and motion graphics. Now, I think it should be said that I'm not a professional designer or compositor, unless you count the money I receive from YouTube. Alas, I'm a student on a journey to be a part of the odd and strange thing called the film industry, and through these videos, I hope to teach you what I have learned so you can join me on this wondrous adventure. Now, I think it should be said that I originally had something else planned for this week, but a story from my friend sparked my imagination. He was hired to do a series of interviews, but when he told the client about the camera and the equipment he could use to film them, they said, "Nay, I want to film it with an iPad." Yes, film professional interviews with an iPad. Feel free to burst into a fit of anger. I know I just about did. Now, the problem isn't that some crazy lady wants to experiment with different devices for film. That's an awesome concept, and more power to you. No. The problem lies in the fact that she, like most people I seem to be running into as of late, are in at least a small way equating resolution with quality. Now maybe some of you are confused out there, so let me make this absolutely clear. Resolution does not equal quality. Why is this, you ask? Well, why does 2 not equal 4, but 2 plus 2 does? It's the same as if you asked someone for candy and they handed you this. Sure, you get points for being a smartass, but in the end, you failed to deliver. The issue is that resolution is only a piece of the great beast that is quality. Maybe we're going about this the wrong way. Instead of looking at what resolution isn't, let's look at what quality is. Now, when you are describing quality in an everyday conversation, people may use words like beauty or art to describe it, and while these terms are all well and good, they have one major flaw: variability. Basically, they are too subjective, and really, that's not a good way of measuring things. Instead, let's turn to a more scientific process. Let's look at an example of what people may consider a quality photo. Let's break this photo down to what techniques were used to achieve the wonderful image before us. For starters, let's look at depth of field. Notice how the background is out of focus and the subject isn't. This technique draws us to look at the girl and not the pretty backdrop. This sort of direction of the viewer's eye is important. Why? We're getting to that. The next thing to notice is the exposure. The artist taking this photo could have simply been lazy and blown out the background or put the character in silhouette, but they didn't. They carefully exposed both the background and the character, giving the background a dull white feel which made the character pop out. Which leads us into color. The background is white, but the character is draped in purple. This tactic of combining grayscale with a bright color is a great way of making the color pop. The last thing to notice is where the character is in ratio to everything else in the background. Notice it's not in the center. Instead, it's shifted off to one side. This is called the rule of thirds, and it takes the viewer's eye all around the photo instead of just looking straight ahead, which creates a more interesting photo instead of something stagnant. We'll go more into rule of thirds at another time, but for now, let's move on. Notice how I didn't mention resolution. This is because resolution comes in at the end, after all the real work is done. Resolution's job in the film and photo world is not to create quality, but preserve it. Resolution allows us to see all the wondrous details otherwise lost to a smaller, low-res photo. But at the end of the day, is this really much better than this? Resolution is simply another link in the chain of things that needs to come to make a quality photo. Now, if this is true, why do so many people talk about resolution? One word: TVs. In the TV world, 2 numbers matter: physical size and pixel amount. So when inexperienced shoppers enter a store, they get blasted with numbers by a sales rep. But I'm not here to argue about bad sales tactics or larger isn't always better for TVs. I'll save that for another time. No, what I'm here to clear up is this 720p, 1080i, and 2K and HD talk that doesn't really transfer over to cameras, at least not in the same way. If you go into a camera store today, almost all cameras are at least 720p. Does this mean that all cameras are equally good because they all have HD resolution? Absolutely not. To most filmmakers, it is laughable to think that a point-and-shoot is equal to a 5D Mark II. And yet, so many people feel that their little cameras equates to the cameras used by professionals. Now, this is not to say that you shouldn't film until you have the best camera. Absolutely not. Go film with whatever you got. Experience is experience. What I'm simply trying to say is understand there is an appropriate timing for everything. For example, maybe you're doing a Blair Witch style video. You might be able to pull it off with just some SD cameras and a cell phone. But if you're doing a professional level video for advertisement and you have the option to work with better technology, do it! And hopefully next time you hear a sales rep pitch you a camera by talking about resolution, ask what other features it has. Because in the world of film, no one thing or one person does it all. It's a group effort between the technology and the people. So let's wrap this up so you can stop listening to my annoying voice. Just because an image is big and sharp doesn't make it any better. Like the saying goes, you can't shine shit. Hopefully this video did clear up a few things, and next we'll be going over what programs to use and what programs not to use, because that seems to be a common question. In the meantime, if you would click that wonderful subscribe button and like and favorite this video, and if you want to chat and hit me up on Facebook, or hell, send me an email. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, smile, and have a very happy birthday.